Good afternoon on what is a mild, grey and cloudy day. It is Tuesday the 2nd of April and I'm in the reading up with a nice hot cup of tea and a copy of Tunnels and Trolls to continue unboxing. So this is the copy which I have obtained to do a full review of in 2025 because it's the 40th anniversary of what is the second fantasy role-playing game, designed by Ken St. Andre and published by Flying Buffalo in 1975. This is a second printing of the 5th edition, published and printed here in the UK by Chris Hardy Games. So it was what that meant was that it was A, accessible, and B, inexpensive. But Tunnels and Trolls was always an inexpensive game. Now, I have already done an overview, unboxed it, and I pulled out the introductory sheet, looked at the rulebook, and the first adventure in this box, which is Buffalo Castle, which is the first solo adventure scenario published for a role-playing game, I suspect. What I'm going to look at next is Dungeon of the Bear. Now, I think there's multiple levels of Dungeon of the Bear. You will buy them separately. I don't ever think I actually ever had a look at more than just the one level, or played through the one level when I was at grammar school back in, 1981 to 83. So, surprisingly, this comes as a little folio. There isn't anything on the back, which is a little bit disappointing, but it says this is a complete made for Tunnels and Trolls dungeon with map and key for the Dungeon Master, written by Jim Bear Peters. And this isn't a format I've actually ever seen it in, so it's got a little portfolio, and what you open up is a very kind of sketched out, it's well drawn, I understand, but essentially, if you're used to seeing things drawn on hex paper, you may well be disappointed by that. And I've got this upside down, so I'll turn it up the other way. There we go, so you can see. No, I haven't. There we go. And then you have these sheets. So it essentially says, the folks of Flying Buffalo felt that a word or two might clarify some aspects of the Dungeon of the Bear, and have provided me with the space but just provide you, the prospective Dungeon Master, a few tips and not a little history. So even in Tunnels and Trolls 5th edition, they're using the term Dungeon Master. So 1 month after Ken St. Andre created Tunnels and Trolls and his infamous prototype Tunnels and Trolls dungeon, Gristlegrim, the Dungeon of the Bear was born. As time passed, the grim original Gristlegrim was devastated by the dungeon demolition team of Ugly John Carver in a marathon 22-hour game, leaving the Dungeon of the Bear, the oldest made for Tunnels and Trolls dungeon in the world. What you have in your hands has come down through 3 years of constant use. Its halls echo with a clash of swords and the tramp of orcish boots. This dungeon is time-tested, tried and true. Now its fine traditions are yours. May its traps and monsters serve you as they did me. It says essentially, it is worthwhile to keep in mind that it's just the first level dungeon, and the first, second and third level characters are best to spring it upon. Keep in mind that the dungeon are general places where monsters, orcs, trolls, wicked warlocks and others store the treasure won by the villainy. These troves are wont to be frequently visited by the evil owners, so if a party is not active enough to suit you, add a few wandering monsters. A table of monsters for room A can be used as a starting place to create bands of evil doers to harass the bulky delvers on their ventures. Others can be invented by you. Determined that the regularity of wandering monsters is discussed in the Tunnels and Trolls rulebook, which you cannot do without if you wish to use this dungeon as it was meant to be used. The basics are given you herein. All you need most vitally to run the dungeon: descriptions of rooms, the monsters and treasures that they're in, and traps. It is your job as the Dungeon Master to make it all work smoothly. Read the entire dungeon before you try it out with the delvers. You should have a decent idea of what you're working with, so that you don't need tell more than you should, or nor leave out vital information. The dungeon descriptions are not set up so you can simply read off the text concerning room Y or trap B. You should tell them only what they can logically see or sense. Logic is the key here. So yeah, generally that's the introduction. And the thing is, what it doesn't have is any kind of introduction for the game master in terms of, this is the Dungeon of the Bear, this is what it is, etc, etc, etc. So that's a little bit disappointing. But and these are just sort of like one-sided cheats. There is that, and then essentially we're literally into the entry of the Dungeon of the Bear. Basically with notes on particular locations, description, and more closer diagram of the trap in room 1. So basically room A, I should say, and then you've got that random encounter table there, which can sort of it can be the basis of the random encounter table if the game master wants to add one. And really, not much to look at. I am very surprised at this, even at this late stage of the development of Tunnels and Trolls, that there isn't more made of this dungeon and what the it looks like inside. Whereas when I looked at Buffalo Castle in comparison, that had illustrations. So you have some idea of what you were looking at. Even if it's just to break up the text, as it were. So yes, a little strange, I would suggest, but maybe that's just me. So essentially, quite a lot of text-heavy affair. With not much to really look at, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, that's Dungeon of the Bear. Essentially, this then is, if you can see, I mean, you sort of and this sort of lines up there, so you could actually store that in your folder of Tunnels and Trolls Adventures, if you had a folder of it like that. So essentially what you would do, you would have played perhaps the starting scenario in this, and then as a game master, perhaps the referee, played through this to give you even before then, played through this to give you a taste of what playing Tunnels and Trolls is like. Play through the scenario in here, and then play through the scenario in here. I mean, what you have in here is really what I do like about in here. Essentially, so you have Tunnels and Trolls rulebook, Solitaire Dungeon, Buffalo Castle, and the Game Master Dungeon, Dungeon of the Bear, level 1. Listed all here. Is everything you need to kind of experience the whole thing, both. As the game master, as a player with Buffalo Castle, and then in a group with this and the adventure in here. Anyway, so that is Dungeon of the Bear, designed by Jim Bear Peters. See if there's any kind of a date on this. Well, basically 1975, 1976, I suppose, would be the date on it. So perhaps one of the earliest dungeons to be appear and be published, or certainly written for a game. So, the Dungeon of the Bear, level 1 for Tunnels and Trolls. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any further comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here typically with a box containing a book or game or role-playing supplement, in this case a dungeon for Tunnels and Trolls, found in the Tunnels and Trolls box set, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.